I've been talking a lot recently about the Pokemon trading card game, which is actually because I got back into playing that. And just like I got back into playing Pokemon Go for the first time in 2 years, it took some revisiting to get myself up to speed. And it kind of left me with the question of, what should I really do to get started? I collected Pokemon cards from about 2000 to 2006. And during that 6-year window, I had a blast. But the truth is, the game has evolved since then. They've added new types, like the Fairy type and the Dragon type. They've changed the way some of the trainer cards work. Now there are trainer items and there are trainer supporters, with supporters being nerfed and only playable once per turn. But besides those changes, for the most part, the game is exactly the same as when I was a kid. But the other change comes in the actual power of the cards. It seems like nowadays, cards have higher HP, they also have higher attack, which means that my old cards are simply unplayable in the current format. In addition, they don't fit into either of the formats of standard or expanded, which are the primary competitive formats, where most of the competitive play would happen in the standard format, which has a restricted list of sets you can use, primarily the newest cards that you would be buying at, say Target today, whereas the expanded set reaches back for a few years of sets, that people might have in their collection. But if you're going to start playing and you're going to get some cards today, odds are you're going to be buying cards that fit into the standard format. But if you're just starting out, the formats and the competitive play is probably as irrelevant to you as it is to me. So how do you get started? How do you get back into the Pokemon trading card game? Well, the easiest thing I've found to do is actually to buy a starter deck. And at the time I thought, you know what, I've played the game before, I know the rules, I have a pretty good idea of how to build a deck. Do I really need a starter deck? Well, ultimately the starter deck was the most cost-effective way to get myself up and running, get myself off the ground. It turns out that the starter decks today are not nearly as bad as the starter deck of yesteryears. I remember as a kid, some of the starter decks I bought, I just felt were really poor in comparison to the decks that I had built personally. Now, the starter decks aren't going to win you any sort of tournaments, but they do come with some cards that are very competitively relevant, in addition to obviously including the evolution chains. And by that, I mean, if you open a pack and you get a Raichu and you're like, that's an awesome Raichu, I want to put it in my deck. Well, if you're just starting out, you don't have many cards. If you don't have a Pikachu, you can't put that Raichu in your deck because you can't lay the Pikachu to evolve into the Raichu, right? If you want to do evolution chains, you got to have multiple duplicate cards in the evolution chain so that you can be sure that you get, your basic, your stage 1, your stage 2 in order to lay all of these cards out. So if you're just ripping open packs, you could have an awesome Machamp like I did that I pulled out of a pack, and it's just simply unplayable because I don't have a Machoke or a Machop or 2-3 duplicates of each just to ensure that I can get that evolution line in. So it's something that I have to wait and open more packs to get. You take out that variable when you buy a starter deck, and these typically run you about $12. They have some new ones with the legendary dogs that do include, like I said, some competitively relevant cards. It's not a overall competitively relevant deck. It's not a mind-blowing deck, but there are some good cards in it. And then there's some other cards that are fluff that you're going to want to take out. So I recommend starting with that starter deck and building from there. Buying individual packs for, upwards of $4 a piece is not exactly the best financial choice. What I recommend is buying either the boxes that come with 4 packs and a GX card. It also comes with the large GX card. Or buying the Elite Trainer boxes, which come with 8 packs, like an awesome pack of energies, a cool box to store them in, and some other small things like that. But that's going to get you about, a cheaper rate per pack, which is what we're looking for. Also, oftentimes, we see sales on these larger items. The tins are another example. They're going to be ran at 50% off on Black Friday at Target this year, which will bring the cost of the tins down to just $10 a piece, which means you're getting 4 packs and that GX card for $10. That is an awesome deal. Also, when you're getting these GXs or these EXs and these packs, obviously pay attention to make sure that this is a card that you think will fit into your deck. You want to be buying a tin or a box that features a card that will actually fit into your starter deck, that you can take something else out, put this card in, and automatically improve your play. The other thing is, I didn't realize when I was a kid just how important trainers are. There are so many trainers that are like must-have staples to decks, and a fair amount of those trainers actually come in the starter decks. And from my experiences opening packs, I don't get all that many trainers in those packs. So you really got to get a starter deck to really get yourself off the ground. That's going to run you about $12. From there, that other $15 box, a $20 tin, or a $40 Elite Trainer box is going to help you expand that collection and start to improve. Now, the one big difference that I see about the Pokemon TCG from when I was a kid is it's not as hard to find people to play with anymore. Locally, we do have tournaments and things of that nature in my area, but more importantly, I can play against random people on the internet thanks to the Pokemon trading card game online, which I wish they would have had, 15 years ago when I was into playing this, but obviously technology had not progressed that far. I made a video on this game probably almost like 2 years ago. I had a blast playing it then. I've gotten back into playing it now. Basically, when you open the IRL Pokemon packs, it comes with a little card with a code on. You enter that code, you get to open another different pack from the same series online where you could get better or worse cards. Your starter decks, it's the same kind of deal. You're going to get a code for the starter deck, and with the starter deck, you will actually open the exact starter deck on the game. So then you can create a deck on there, play against random people on the internet in different formats, which for one is a great way to really get to know the rules, because you can't mess it up when you're playing an online game. It's going to make you follow the rules, obviously. And then for two, it's just a great way to hone your skills and improve your strategies, as well as if you're working with the starter deck, get used to the cards that you have. So I have found it to be a ton of fun. I would highly recommend it to anybody else. I did mention that Elite Trainer box, good way to get started on energies if you don't have any right now, because you don't see them in packs that often. The other thing you can do is you can go to your local game shop, and they will probably sell you just a boatload of energy cards or commons, things like that for next to nothing. My local shop charges $1 for 25 commons or energy cards. So really cheap there, and it makes buying, those basic cards easy. And if you don't have access to something like that, the Elite Trainer box is the way to go. But I highly recommend, if you're going to get back into playing the game, buy a starter deck. You won't regret it. It's the easiest way to do it. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Bailey, and I will see you in the next video.